Hi guys, this is Matthias, and I'm coming at you here with my conclusion of the Star Wars Battlefront open beta. Now, this beta lasted for 6 days. It was originally just meant to last for 5 days, but EA DICE needed an extra day to do some additional testing, according to themselves. Now, it probably doesn't come as a surprise to anybody that this beta was very popular. Over 9 million people participated. At the same time, there's been a lot of disappointments over the game. One of the biggest and most discussed topic is the balance between the Rebel Alliance and the Imperial forces on Walker Assault. And the first thing that I want to bring up here is the dilemma that DICE faces when it comes to being true to the story. Because I'm pretty sure it goes without saying that what DICE wants to do with this map is that they want to make you feel that you are part of this classic battle that happens once Vader and his Imperial forces are able to locate the Rebel Alliance on the planet Hoth. So now, if you still haven't seen The Empire Strikes Back and you don't want me to spoil the story, you might want to shut the video off now. But the fact of the matter is that this battle was an extremely unfair fight. In the movie, the Rebel Alliance are completely defenseless, and even though some people might interpret this battle as a win for the Rebel Alliance once they were able to use the tow cable to take down a couple of walkers, that is not the case. What the Rebel Alliance actually gained from that was enough time to evacuate from the planet. They did not win the battle. So now, making an interesting game out of this is of course extremely hard. Even though the game looks great and sounds even better, normally that's not enough to make a game worth playing, at least not after a couple of days. So now overall, it seems to me that for every 10 rounds, the Imperial forces were usually able to win about 9 of those. And as much as there's a lot of people that have pointed out the problem with the Imperial forces being so much stronger, others are saying that it's mainly a matter of learning how to play the game, and first and foremost learning how to counter the vehicles of the Imperial forces when you were playing as a rebel scum. So now, one of the anti-vehicle weapons that you have access to are the ion shots. After playing the game for a couple of days, I started stacking up on them because I didn't like running out. Now, you activate them by whatever key you have assigned to them, and the moment that you start shooting, you activate the timer that limits for how long you have access to these ion shots. If you want to make use of them properly, make sure that you cancel the overheating by pressing R at the right moment. As I was playing here, I noticed there was a power-up here, and I wanted to pick it up because I was hoping that it would be a smart rocket, but it was something even better, orbital strike. So now, since this AT-AT is slowly moving forward, I placed the orbital strike right in front of it, something that probably turned out to be a little bit of a waste actually. So now I think that the walker is at about 80% just before the orbital hits it. A few seconds later, it's down to only 18. I also get quite a lot of points for the AT-AT damage.
Firepower on that walker. It won't be exposed for very long.
Now, when I played as a rebel on this map, I put a lot of focus into the anti-vehicle role, or mainly the anti-ATST role. Now, I've made so many vehicle kills that I could probably make hours of montages of doing just that. And in this video you'll see quite a bit of it as well. Now, the problem with that and that kind of footage is that it can be very misinterpreted and very misleading in the discussion between the rebels and the Imperials. And the way I see it, there are a couple of very obvious problems. The first one that I want to point out is that when you choose an anti-vehicle weapon, such as the ion shots that you see me using here, or the ion grenade, then you are forced to give something else up. In the case of the ion shots, it takes up the same slot that otherwise could be used for the personal shield. And the fact that the Imperials have no reason to use the ion shots, they can use the personal shield instead, giving them yet even another advantage. Now, I didn't use the ion grenade all that much because I felt that it wasn't all that reliable. It's too much open space in most situations, and you just don't get close enough to use it before you get killed yourself. However, with the ion shots you can, from distance, slowly wear down the HP of the ATSTs and, well, the other vehicles as well. But here there's another problem. In my opinion, it takes a little bit too much time, and it leaves you very exposed. While you are doing this, you are more or less defenseless. It is very easy for anybody playing as an Imperial to either flank or snipe one of the rebels using the ion shots to take out a vehicle. Now, utilizing the high ground was something that I started doing quite early on. Mostly I do it because once the ATST notices that I'm shooting at it, it wants to shoot back, and the splash damage from its weapons will quickly kill you if you try to do anything similar to this in a scenario where the player in the vehicle has the high ground. Now, among very experienced players, it's quite common knowledge that map design plays a massive role in the balance between two different teams. For example, the more easily accessible high ground that you could give to the Rebel Alliance, the more it would favor them. However, even in this case, dice are limited by the actual original story. So now, aside from the anti-vehicle weapons that you can spawn with, you also have access to some of these power-ups. In this case, I was able to get a hold of a smart rocket. Now, these smart rockets are great, especially against the ATSTs. You will keep it until you use it, even if you die with it. However, the problem with the smart rockets is that they are not all that reliable. You can never really know where to find it, and even when you see a power-up that potentially could be a smart rocket, you can never really know that until you pick it up.
Stormtroopers have halted the locking signal. Our bombers need that beacon operational.
We lost one! Our Y-Wing's got a lock on the Imperial Walker.
So now, taking out vehicles is something that is relatively satisfying, actually. You feel that you do something good for your team, and it's actually quite easy. Well, for as long as nobody shoots back. The problem is that when you choose to engage a vehicle, you have to do that rather than something else. This while the rest of the Imperial forces doesn't need to worry too much about being shot at. Now, there's also been some concern about the lack of anti-air weapons, but the fact of the matter is, you seem to be countering air pretty good with the regular weapons, and even better with the ion shots.
Rebel Y-Wing inbound.
However, I believe that once pilots get more and more experienced, they will be harder and harder to deal with from the ground with the regular weapons, such as the ones that we have had access to up until now. So another thing that I'd like to talk about is the value of understanding how to lead. The projectiles in this game travels relatively slow. This means that if you would put your aim directly on a moving target, you would most likely not hit it. Yeah, this is what it looks like if I slow down and zoom in. I notice when I'm trying to finish him off with my blaster, and the first shots are actually a little bit behind him, and then when I readjust and put my aim slightly to the left of him, the bullets connect and I'm able to pick him off. Here is actually a better example. The first guy that I'm picking off here doesn't require any leading, and that's because even though he's far away, he's running towards me. The second guy, however, is running to the right on my screen, and the blaster's projectiles are slower than the ones of the cycler rifle, but since the projectiles are visible, it's easier to readjust. Now, I also believe that you're gonna have the most success if your playstyle and your loadout fits together. So far, I don't consider this game being more strategical than any other shooter game, but still, there is a lot more to it than just pointing and clicking.
Rebel troopers have activated the uplink station. In order to protect our walkers, you must deactivate it.
So now it seems to me that almost everyone that participated in the beta of this game, they made up their mind of what they think about it based on their experience on this map, Walker Assault. Now, as much as that is not all that surprising, I believe that this is quite premature. Balancing and tweaking weapons and vehicles is nothing new, and Electronic Arts have already announced a lot more content, such as game modes and maps. Understandably, some people think it's going to be a little bit too expensive, being that you're paying a full price for the original game, as well as paying for already announced DLCs. Now, personally, I have a hard time making up my mind about these things, especially considering the fact that I've been playing free-to-play games for the last 2.5 years. In my experience, games that cost you like 60 euros are not better than games that you can play for free, but that's just me. As a matter of fact, I sometimes get the impression that the companies that release AAA titles, they stop working on their games a lot earlier when it comes to patching and releasing new content and optimization and some such. On the other hand though, it is quite unusual with games that keeps enough of their player base interested for, let's say, over 2 years to make it worth their while. So by now there are probably quite a number of people that are wondering, why am I still playing this game in first-person view? Almost everyone else that played this game did so in third-person view. Well, as you can tell, I'm doing pretty well in first-person view, and I am really a first-person shooter, a bit conservative, I might add, and I feel like it's a little bit easier at longer ranges to maintain my aim on the target, and I felt like I was doing pretty well with it, so yeah, I decided to stick with it. Now, I hope you guys had at least as much fun with this beta as I did. Did you get hooked and decide to buy the game? And if so, then what was the deciding factors? Maybe the beta actually turned you off, and if that's the case, was that something that I brought up in this video, or was there something else? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below, and yeah, thank you all for watching.